begs for a lift to the airport, demands it's done on their terms, illegally risking my driver's license. That's not going to happen. A while back. This one. Some background, though. I'd once driven a friend who didn't wear their seatbelt and copped a $300 fine for it. To this story. A family friend's sons needed a lift to the airport early one morning for a long-planned trip. I lived about 10 miles from their place, and the 30-mile trip I was taking to work the opposite direction took me right past the airport. So it was a bit extra time out of the morning. 15 miles to the west to pick up the sons, then 45 miles east instead of 30 east. But they begged, and both phoned me, and I said I was good to give them the lift. I turned up in the morning, loaded up their gear, the sons both in the car, and said goodbye to their parents, and we took off. Drove a few miles up the freeway, and my seatbelt alert starts pinging. Son 1 in the front seat had taken off his belt. I asked him to put it on. He goes, "Nah, I don't do seatbelts." So I pulled over, looked back at the other son in the back seat, which didn't have alarms, and sure enough, he'd taken off his belt too. Then the arguing started. I was blunt as I could be that I'm not risking my license and my money so they could get a free lift I didn't care one way or another about. Roughly as follows, paraphrased because it was years ago, but they were both in on it. Me. I'm not moving the car unless the belts are on. I've been fined once before, not doing it again. Son 1. I told you, I don't do seatbelts. Dad's okay with it? Me. I'm not. And you, son 2, yours on too, not moving until they're on. Son 1. Do you have any idea how dangerous they are in an accident? Me. Blinks on 1, then puts his behind him and clicks it in. Me. No, belt goes around you. Doesn't count. Son 1. It'll turn off the alarm. Go, you'll see. We need to get going. Me. We can when you put the belt on. I don't give a shit about the alarm. I care it's a $600 fine if you two don't have belts on. Son 2. Come on, we'll be late. Me. Your flight's not for another hour and a half. Belts on. Son 1 then calls his dad. Complains we've stopped. Dad asks why. Son 1 explains. Then his dad tells him to just put the belt on. Son 1 says okay, but didn't notice I'd heard his dad's side too, and said his dad says I need to get a move on. Me. Not until belts are on. This goes back and forth to the point I'll be late to work if I don't get going. Son 1 is all fine then, turn around, I'll get Dad to drive. Me. Belts on then. Son 1. No, I've told you already. Me. Then we're not moving. I get out my phone and browse idly showing I'm not moving until their seatbelts go on. Son 1 phones his dad again. His dad sounds really pissed but agrees to pick them up. Both sons get out, take their bags. One slams the door and boot, and I drive off. Choosingbeggars left behind. I get to work, then get a phone call that son 2 left his main luggage in my car, and they want it dropped off at the airport urgently. They're flying out soon, and they need it now. I tell them to get a taxi, and I'll meet them out back of my work. They decide to argue it's my responsibility to get them the luggage, and again, argue the point. Half an hour later, one turns up in a taxi to get the other's luggage. I should note here I really don't know these guys well at all. I know one's name for sure, and think I know the other, but I might have him mixed up with a cousin from the same suburb. Later that afternoon, I get a phone call from their dad that I've wasted his son's tickets. They weren't able to fly out, couldn't rebook quickly, and they'll miss half their vacation time now. And it was all my fault for stopping for so long. I try to explain as clearly as possible that I wasn't going to risk another huge fine and piss off my employer just for the inconvenience of a couple of ungrateful idiots, but ended up just hanging up on him. I'm still friends with their mother, who was the original friend of the family, but things are a bit strained between me and her husband and sons. FDYW's sons were about 21, 24 at the time it happened. Story 2. So let me tell you about a woman that demanded to be paid for getting a free ride, because there was a girl with cancer in the car. Backstory. This happened when I was studying at a university and living with my parents. Our village is located roughly an hour drive from a big city where most of our neighborhood work, including my mom, her nice friend in the IT department, and the choosing beggar, all employed by the same firm. There is a train to the city in the neighboring village, but it's half an hour walk, so my mother would generally drive to work, and I'd tag along whenever our schedules allowed it. Around 2 months before the story takes place, the CB realized she could ride to work and back home with my mom, and my mother being a generous person, she has agreed to that, demanding no payment as it wasn't any major inconvenience for her, and she was aware the CB was doing low salary job and had young kids at home. The nice IT friend, let's call her Anne, who was always taking a train home, asked my mother a few days beforehand if she and her daughter could ride home with her on Friday, as her daughter was going to be released from just a routine checkup at the hospital in the city. She also offered to take an early leave so that they'd be ready by the car. But my mom said they'd just go to the hospital together, as it's only 10 minutes detour. Come Friday, and surprisingly, I finish my classes early and message my mom if I can tag along. My mom says yes, but at the same time explains quickly Anne's situation and that the car will be packed. No problem for me. 5 minutes to 5, I arrive at the parking and see the CB waiting already. This woman must never work till the end of the shift. She sees me and gets visibly annoyed, saying something along the lines of, "Oh, and now this car is going to become a public bus for annoying teenagers." I was in my 20s and rather quiet in the car. I pretend I heard nothing and just wait patiently. 10 minutes later, my mom arrives with Anne and we drive toward the hospital. The checkout must have been busy as we wait for about 20 minutes, but it's fine with me and Mom, as it's a special situation. However, the CB rants about waiting all the time, much to our annoyance. Anne finally shows, and we quickly realize that it was by no means just a checkup. Anne's daughter looks very frail and thin, face white, bald head covered with a scarf, barely holding up, clearly just released from chemotherapy. I immediately get off the front seat and go out to grab the daughter's luggage from Anne to place in the trunk, and let her take the front, as I don't feel comfortable having her crammed up on the back. CB is rather a large woman. Not like that's anything bad, but there was hardly any room on the back with her and Anne in my mom's city car. Anne quietly thanks me and we roll back home, in relative silence as the daughter fell asleep immediately. We go to Anne's home first, just on the way, and they start leaving quickly. Anne's daughter throws up a moment she wakes up, getting some puke on the car, and quickly starts apologizing. We say we don't mind. And there it starts. Anne takes out her wallet and gets a bill that had exchanged for around $1.60 and insists on paying my mom for both the ride and cleaning the car, which my mom quickly declines. However, at the same moment the CB reaches for the money. For a moment, everything is silent, and then the conversation goes like this. CB, I'll be taking it, thanks. Me, on what grounds? CB, well, we had to take this huge detour and I'll be like 40 minutes late at home. Me, well, you would be even later had you taken the train. It's none of your concern. CB, I don't take any trains home. I always ride this car. And I'm not just being late. This car has been ruined by Anne's daughter. Me, it's not even your car. And we don't mind. CB, I take it every day, so it's mine as well. Me, BS, it's my mom's car and she decides what to do with it. CB, anyways, daughter puked here in my close proximity. I'm surely entitled to some damages. Anne, no, it's right. I'm so sorry. She never another banknote. CB grabs handbag Kiki hands into D money tia mother my thumb to the pocket so up proceeds puts us quickly bow take with it diamond to the upi. Me, heck Anne, you shouldn't have given her a thing. She takes a ride with my mom daily and pays us nothing. Anne, oh, I thought she's paying for the fuel. Me, as she should have. CB, it doesn't matter. I take this car every day and now I'm covered in some sick girl's vomit. What if my kids catch what she's sick with? Puke got nowhere near her. Daughter shouts in very rasped voice, I have a brain tumor, it's not contagious. That somehow managed to shut the CB up. My mom got out, took the daughter's luggage, and walked Anne and her daughter home, slipping the banknote she was given to their mailbox on her way back. She says nothing and drives straight to CB's home. She'd normally leave her at the crossroad nearby, and speaks for the first time in a while. I was driving you because it wasn't inconvenient for me, but it just became a large inconvenience. This partnership is done. I don't care if you take the train from now on. Get your own car, or just quit your job. I will not be driving you anywhere unless you or your kids are dying. The $25 you were given for no reason should be enough for a week's worth of train tickets anyways, so enjoy. This car is mine and mine only, so get out now. After that, I hardly saw the CB at all. Hopefully she's never coming back into picture, and my mom drives to work with Anne now, who, even if nobody asks her to, pays for the fuel. Anne's daughter is in remission now, so she's doing much better if you're curious. Have a good day, y'all. Sorry for the long post. I just had to tell the story to more people. And sorry if the English is not perfect, I'm not a native speaker. She